conversation with a prominent cannabis leader or activist who we feel like is progressing the culture in a way that's very beneficial to everyone involved. Today, we have Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, who's on to discuss his bill that he introduced to federally decriminalize cannabis. How are you doing today, Senator?
Doing pretty good, Andrew. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you. My first question would be, with everything going on today, recently, this close to election, and the recent developments within politics, what made this top of mind for you to really continue to push cannabis decriminalization?
Great question. Well, I've believed in this for a long time. Let me go over what our bill does just briefly, because it goes beyond just decriminalization. It's called S-1552. Of course, it decriminalizes marijuana. It deschedules it. But second, it levels the economic playing field. It takes some of the money that the federal government will make from the sale of marijuana and put it into dedicated funding streams for minority and women-owned businesses, particularly minority. The theory there is very simple, Andrew. The minority community has paid such a huge price in so many ways for this draconian law. The money ought to come back there. We don't want some big cigarette company coming in and taking over. The third thing it does is it incentivizes the sealing and expungement of records. You know, a young man has marijuana in his pocket, is arrested, has a criminal record the rest of his life, and he can never get things back to get set things straight. And this would expunge those records and have great encouragement of that. So those are the three biggest parts of the bill. We also do a few other things. But so this is, I believe in this. First, here's what happened. We saw states decriminalize and legalize recreational marijuana, and all the parade of horribles. Crime will go up, everyone will become a drug addict. None of that happened. It was freedom. It allowed people to do what they wanted with very little harm. But second, I'm a big fighter for racial justice, and the marijuana laws have been one of the biggest examples of racial injustice. And so to change them makes sense, and that fits in with all of the movement now to bring equality in the policing, in economics, and in everything else. And our bill, you know, it's sort of in a certain sense at the nexus of racial justice, individual freedom, public safety, state rights. So it's a moment to do it. And why at this moment? I know things are busy. I've been pushing this bill for 6 months. Hey, people should vote. If people care about this issue, they should vote. Because if I get to be majority leader, as you know now, I'm a minority leader, I can't put anything on the floor. It's up to Mitch McConnell. He'll never help with this. But if I get to be majority leader, I will put this bill in play, and I think we'll have a good chance to pass it.
Right. That's an amazing bill, and I think it's very vital. 10 years ago, this isn't a conversation I ever would have expected to be happening at such a level. What do you think has changed over the past decade to where it can be a real actual conversation around decriminalization or legalization of cannabis federally?
Okay, I think what's happened is first, a couple of states had the courage to do it on their own. They tended to be Western states, which are more into freedom and individuality. And people saw that it was a positive, not a negative. It was an economic benefit, but all the bad things that all these crazy, all these scared people didn't happen. So that's important. And look, I think racial justice has become an issue of, thank God, far more greater prominence now. And marijuana and the draconian laws of marijuana were one of the key components of injustice. So I think those two things have brought it to a head in a way that now we have a good chance of passing it. I guess that's the third thing. I like to get things done. Yeah, I introduce some bills that don't get anywhere, but I like to get things done. And I have some power as minority leader, I'll have more as majority leader, but now I have the chance to actually make something happen.
Okay, and to follow up on that, when I was reviewing the bill, I saw that you had a section in there where you spoke on states' rights, where you wanted to still relegate a large sense of authority to each state, right, and how they kind of govern it.
Yes, we decriminalize it. So any state that wants to legalize or decriminalize will be left alone by the federal government. But the federal government, and this helps get it passed, to be honest with you. Let's say you're a state that doesn't want to decriminalize or legalize. We say the federal government will still enforce the law, so where marijuana can't flow into your state, in a state where it happens. I think 11 states now have either decriminalized or legalized. I think that number will go way up. And this point of the bill won't be as necessary a couple of years from now, but to help get it passed, why not?
And I know it's a few states, as you said, that are on the ballot in 2020. How important is it for a state like New Jersey or Mississippi medically to get those things over the finish line? Does that make it a little bit easier for you as more states begin
Yes,
to?
every time a state votes for recreational use, for medical use, it helps push things over. And what happens then is the people in those states say, "See, this was a good thing." All the people who were, wow, 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 something terrible's going to happen, lose their credibility.
Recent states such as Illinois and Colorado has been great about it. It has been a flow of tax money, additional tax money to go into the state governments that I think has benefited
We
multiple.
take that tax money, Andrew, as I said, and put it into minority-owned businesses, into getting the states to expunge the records. It's two other things we do with it, so people should know. We do some safety research. We want to know the effects. One of the arguments against it is the effects of THC on driving. I don't think, it's, so we want to look at research to see what can be done there. We have breathalyzer tests. Maybe there's a marijuana test. I don't know. And we do some public health research because THC helps in certain ailments, as we know. That's why there's medical marijuana and its effect on the brain. So we do some research there. So we take the money that the federal government makes, put it back into minority communities, but also do some research so everyone is. I think the more knowledge we have about cannabis, the more accepting people will be.
Senator Schumer, maybe you can just tell the viewers some of the ways that they can support this locally and in the overall the election coming up.
Yeah, well, with the election coming up, this is a little political, you'll forgive me, but the truth is the truth. If I become majority, the House, I have the similar bill in the House by Hakeem Jeffries. He's my fellow Brooklynite, he's congressman from Brooklyn. But this will pass the House, it would pass it now, okay? They had, they're passing certain things. But the Senate's always been the barrier. So if I become majority leader, I'll put this on the floor and it's likely to pass. So how do I become majority leader? Well, this is a little political. You'll forgive me, Andrew, but the facts are the facts. You vote for a Democratic senator in your state. That's going to make it happen because I need just 3 more Democrats to win and I become majority leader. We have 47, we go to 50, Biden's president, it's done. So vote. And vote if you believe in reform here, if you believe in decriminalizing cannabis. The thing to do is vote for your Democratic Senate candidate because they'll be part of my team to get this done.
And if you're in Alabama, make sure you vote for Doug Jones. That would be an amazing re-election.
Doug Jones is fabulous. He's fabulous. What a great guy.
Yeah, I'm from Alabama originally. I was really proud of how the state came together and put him over the top against Roy Moore.
You know this story about him? People may not know it. He was a law student in the late 70s in Alabama. And he sat in the courtroom because Jimmy Carter, the new president then, had appointed a U.S. attorney who indicted the 3 Ku Klux Klanners who blew up the church in Montgomery and killed those 4 beautiful girls. So the jury acquitted him. It was an all-white jury. They went out, gave high fives, blah, blah, blah. The Ku Klux Klanners who were the murderers. Jones, as a law student, sat in that classroom and said, I'm going to do something about this. 20 years later, he's appointed U.S. attorney by Clinton. He finds a way to try them again without invoking double jeopardy, convicted them, and all 3 of them died in jail as they should have. That's what a great guy he is.
That is amazing. I did not know that story. And I'm from Alabama. That is an amazing story.
There you go.
I wanted to get you to speak on, because I lived in New Jersey for a while, and I know it's on the ballot there. I would love for you to speak on the work Senator Booker's been doing in the state of New Jersey for cannabis.
Senator Booker is part of our team. And of course, it's on the ballot in New Jersey. It's going to be on the ballot in a whole lot of states. And just the more people vote and let their representatives know, one of the ways they vote is look at what's your position on decriminalizing, legalizing cannabis. It'll help build the movement and make it happen. Who cares about building the movement except to make things happen?
Right, exactly. And then my final question would be, what happens to the person, I'm sure a viewer who may say, I have a current cannabis conviction, or I have a family member currently in jail for cannabis. What would happen once it gets passed for people who are still under?
What we do, we can't, these are state laws, but what we do is we send dollars to the states to expunge the records. So let's say you serve time for a cannabis conviction. You can't get a good job. You can't maybe get a loan. It's all kinds of things against you. That all goes away. You know, if you're a big drug dealer, it doesn't get expunged, but anybody but normal people, yes.
Okay, great. It makes perfect sense. I definitely appreciate your time, Senator.
Thank
Senator
Andrew
Jones
Cuomo,
definitely has my
anytime.
vote.
Right. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and thank you for caring about this. And anytime you need me, call me.
Yes, yes, we look forward to it. Good luck in
Thank
November also. We all need it.
you. Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Schumer.
Thank you.